Howdy! Recently, I moved back to the United States. And for those of you who are new to the channel who do not know, I lived in South Korea for 10 years, an entire decade. And I just recently came back in June of this year, 2020. It was an amazing experience living abroad for that long, but I actually never intended to live abroad for that long. And so I wanted to talk about my reasons for moving back to the United States. There are many reasons why I moved back to the United States and why I never planned on staying in Korea for the rest of my life. But today I'm going to just name 5 reasons. And actually, 4 of those reasons have really nothing to do with Korea itself. It's more like city life because I was living in Seoul for most of my time in Korea. And this could apply to anyone who lives in a big city and then moves back to a smaller hometown. So, in order, counting down to 1, number 5 is wide open spaces. So I adore nature. I love to go out and walk around among the trees and the birds, and I actually do enjoy bird watching and going to the beach. And these are things that I could do in Korea. However, Korea is such a small country, it wasn't this vast expanse like it is here in Florida. And also, on top of that, it's very difficult because Korea is so densely populated. It's very difficult to go anywhere in nature where you're not surrounded by people. And sometimes I just really go out to nature so that I can be alone with my thoughts, and that was very difficult to do in Korea. This sort of ties in a little bit with the next reason. Reason number 4 for why I came back to the United States is peace and quiet. Again, this is something that is not exclusive to Korea. It's kind of more of a city problem. Living in the city, it's very difficult to find anywhere that is quiet, still, calm, and quiet. It doesn't really exist in the cityscape. And here in Florida, at least, even though I live in a city, my city is kind of more of a small town feel, so it's very easy to get away from the downtown hustle bustle and find this little pocket of quiet. And most residential neighborhoods, like the ones where my parents and my aunt live, are very quiet because they are residential neighborhoods and nobody wants to bother anybody else. And I just love the quiet. It is so nice to be able to sit down in bed and get ready to sleep and not hear the roar of a train going by your window. Reason number 3 is familiarity, or cultural comfort, if you will. This is something that has to do with living in another country. If you live in another country where they don't speak your native language and their culture is vastly different from your home culture, it can get quite exhausting having to completely assimilate to that culture day in and day out. Not to say that I didn't enjoy my time in Korea, it's just impossible. Really, it's impossible for anyone to 100% assimilate to a culture all the time, 100% of the time. Even though I am fluent in Korean, it is kind of difficult to speak only Korean for days on end. Sometimes you just want to relax and not have to grind the gears in your brain to make sure that you're grammatically correct. And language is not language without the underlying culture. So it's not just making sure that you're grammatically correct or you're using the right vocabulary. you also have to take into account the cultural nuances behind language. So there are customs that you have to uphold when you're in a foreign country. Now, the typical day-to-day of living in Korea was not exhausting or difficult at all because it was just simple things, going to the grocery store or calling a friend. That's fine, but life is not just going to the grocery store and calling friends. It includes things like contracts and paperwork and taxes and all these very difficult things that are really stressful even in your own native language. And then you have to do it in a foreign language, in a foreign culture. It's very difficult. So, one of the reasons that I was happy to come home was to have that familiarity, that ability to communicate 100% exactly what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and I can do all these really hard tasks without second guessing myself. The second reason why I came back to America is creative pursuits. I love things like painting and arts and crafts and sewing and all of these creative things. Finding materials in Korea is not that easy. Here in America, we have places like Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby, these huge warehouse stores that sell all manner of creative supplies. And places like that don't really exist in Korea. They have like the Dongdaemun markets where you can get fabric and little bits and bobs and things, but it's not quite the same as here in America. It's more convenient, it's a little bit cheaper, and it's more common. Also, there's the issue of space. So again, this is not exclusive to Korea, it's more of a city thing. The places are very small. Apartments are very small, and it's very difficult to find space to do these things. So I had a sewing machine when I was in Korea, but I didn't really make a whole lot of stuff because I just didn't have anywhere to lay out fabric and cut patterns and, do all the things that I'm used to doing here in America because I have several rooms where I can go and do different projects. Now, obviously, that's not something that everyone has the luxury to do, but I am very lucky in that regard that here in my home in America, I have lots of space to do all these different creative things that I enjoy doing. And the number one reason why I came back, this is actually really the only reason that I came back, is family. So I am incredibly lucky to have a very strong family unit. I'm very close to my family and I missed them so much. And I had always wanted to come back so that I could be close to them and I could take care of them as they age. That was always on my mind. That was kind of expedited at the beginning of this year because my father injured himself severely and had to undergo a very intensive surgical procedure. And it was really scary. I was afraid, anytime anyone goes under the knife, there is the possibility that they won't make it out. And I cannot tell you how scary it is to be half a world away when one of the most important people in your life is going through something like that and there's nothing you can do. One of my biggest regrets in life is not spending more time with my grandmother before she passed away. She passed away from cancer 2 years ago. I did luckily get to visit with her before she passed away, but I would have liked to have seen her in a better state before she passed away. I would have liked to have spent more time with her. And, family it's irreplaceable. Once they're gone, they're gone. And I don't want to regret not spending more time with them. So that is the number one reason why I came back to America. Korea will always hold a special place in my heart, and I will definitely be visiting again, probably at least once a year if that is possible for me. Um, Fingers crossed that the pandemic goes away by early next year so that I can go back and see all of my friends and colleagues in Korea. But yes, that is why I came back to America. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you are not subscribed, please subscribe so I can see you in the next video, but if not, thank you so much for watching this one. Bye!